Hello, beautiful Taurus, and welcome to your reading for this month of October 2025. Today I will be drawing your cards from the Mystic Psyche Tarot, and then I will be drawing an oracle card from the Magical Spirit Oracle to close off your reading this month, Taurus. So, what messages does Spirit have for Taurus for the month of October 2025? In your overall energy this month, Taurus, you have the Nine of Pentacles. What is blocking you or what needs to be released this month is the Judgment card in reverse. What your strengths are this month, Taurus, you have the Death card in reverse. Wow, and in your hopes and fears, Taurus, you have the Eight of Wands also in reverse. What you need to celebrate or what you could be celebrating this month, Taurus, you have the Nine of Swords upright. And to close off your reading for the month, oh wow, so you have the Seven of Wands, Taurus. Okay. So right away, this month of October, it feels like there's a season of a little bit of hesitation or inattention, like you're standing at the edge of a new chapter, Taurus, but there's something holding you back. There's this sense that you've been, working really, really hard lately. You've been hustling, you've been building, you've been taking care of yourself, and yet the next steps just aren't feeling as certain as you hoped for right now. Taurus, your reading starts with the Nine of Pentacles reversed, and this card kind of immediately sets that tone. So normally this card reflects things like independence, success, comfort in your accomplishments, but reversed, it can suggest a little bit of insecurity. A little bit of self-doubt creeping in. You might be questioning, whether the efforts that you've put in or that you are putting in, whether they're enough, or, whether your finances or your personal goals, whether they're solid. Or Taurus, some of you might even be feeling like, you're missing the recognition that you deserve. And, maybe recently you've invested time or resources into something like a work project or a relationship, and it hasn't really delivered that reward or that sense of stability that you're expecting. So I feel like Spirit is inviting you to pause and just acknowledge that even if things might feel a little bit off, the foundations that you have built and that you are building, they are stronger than they seem, Taurus. So look, next we have the Judgment, and that's showing up in what blockages you may have this month. Now, it is in reverse, and it's showing a period of resistance. A period of resistance to what's necessary. So what reflection is necessary or what awakening is necessary, but it feels like you're resisting it just a little bit. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to consider where you might be holding yourself back from making important decisions. You could be stuck in indecision right now. You could be replaying old mistakes or just kind of hesitating to fully accept a responsibility, Taurus. And this could relate to career choices or a personal relationship or, even patterns within yourself that you've outgrown that are no longer serving you. So you've got the Death card here in your strength, the Death card reversed, and this card kind of deepens this whole theme. There's a resistance to change happening here, Taurus. Even when old cycles are clearly ending, whether that's a chapter in work or a dynamic in a relationship, it can feel scary to let go. And I feel like Spirit is reminding you that transformation happens best. It happens smoothly when you allow the endings instead of forcing continuation, still showing up, still putting in that hustle, and not getting back what you're expected or what you think you deserve. You might be clinging to comfort just a little bit too much, or you might be clinging to familiarity or just control. And I feel like that could be really preventing your growth, Taurus. So in your hopes and fears, we have the 8 of Wands reversed. And this is just saying movement is slow, you know, and it sounds like movement is slow. You're not getting the payout, the gains, the recognition. You're not receiving what you were expecting to receive for the effort that you're putting in. And yeah, it's frustrating. Like, communication might be all over the shop. Perhaps, you know, you're waiting on some news about work, about a job, a contract, or maybe someone in your life isn't responding as you're expecting them to respond. And, you know, this could actually also point to travel plans. So if that's stalled for now, Spirit wants you to see that even though the pace feels really, really slow, it feels like it's actually just giving you a little bit of space to step back and see what you're putting in, see what you're getting out, and maybe just assess the direction that you are trying to take this before you commit more or before you commit fully. So in the 9 of Swords, we have in what we need to celebrate this month, we have the 9 of Swords. And I mean, this card is showing just how much mental and emotional tension you have been under for the past few weeks or the past few months. And it's really, really been weighing down on you. You know, I just feel like a lot of you are lying awake at night, you know, looping in your head, second guessing your decisions, or, you know, feeling anxious, being tied up with anxiety about outcomes or things not going the way that you planned or expected. And yeah, this is the energy of overthinking, of fear, of self-criticism. And I feel like Spirit reminds you that these worries, while they feel really, really, really real, the mind can make them feel a lot bigger than what they really are. I feel like the solution in reality is rarely as big as it seems. And that clarity only does come when you step back, when you breathe, and when you do take a really good look at what is happening before you send yourself into an emotional exhaustion, before you send yourself into burnout, and just see where you're taking this direction and if you're taking it, you know, on the right one. So finally, Taurus, you have the 7 of Wands showing up in your reading. And this is your strength, Taurus, and it really shows you standing firm in your values and efforts. You know, you haven't given up. You know what you are offering. You know what you're made of. And even though you're not getting back what you're expecting to get back, it's not encouraging you to give less or take shortcuts or do a worse job because nobody's paying attention to me anyway. You know, this is showing you and your values. And I mean, even when external pressures might feel intense, you don't lose those values. You don't minimize your efforts. Whether this is defending a boundary in work, or whether this is standing up for yourself in a personal relationship, or just your ethics and the way that you conduct yourself in the things that you do. Spirit wants you to recognize that your perseverance is real power. You know, the earlier delays, the hesitations and the doubts, they're all tests. And I know we don't like tests, but they're all tests. Tests of your resilience, And you know what? You're passing. You're meeting these tests and you are passing because you are not lessening yourself or not lessening your capacity or your morals or your values, because you're kind of getting nothing back here, because you are standing against what feels like a brick wall right now. So, you know, this spread is a little bit about resistance and growth from that resistance. I think you're being encouraged this month to, just stop whatever you're investing in here, or just take a little bit of a step back. Get out of your head and just take a look at the full picture and just wonder, can I go about this differently, or can I give differently? Can I give less? Can I redirect this situation? Because right now, if you keep this up, you're eating yourself alive. Taurus, you're eating yourself alive. Okay, well, let's end on that happy note. I'm going to draw an oracle card from the Magical Spirit deck. So what final message do we have for Taurus for this month of October 2025? Beautiful. So Taurus, we have the yin and the yang. So this is masculine and feminine energy, but finding that duality, finding the balance to ride between those. I am in divine flow and I move in alignment. And you know what? I think this is about finding that balance this month. Taurus, you know, whether you're coming into this in a masculine energy, whether it's a career environment where you're just hustling, going hard, constantly trying to prove that you are valuable, that you are the best, or whether this is a feminine energy and you're constantly putting in emotion, trying to heal someone, trying to help somebody, trying to love somebody, you're getting nothing back. And maybe that is what that whole change in direction is all about. If you've been putting in masculine energy to this situation and getting nothing back, maybe tap into that feminine energy. Maybe try and see a different direction that you can take this. Or if you've been putting in the feminine if you've been putting in the feminine energy, maybe try to tap into a little bit of your masculine energy to approach this situation and see if it shifts. See if it shifts this dynamic for you this month. All right, Taurus. Well, that's what I have for you this month of October. Thank you for joining me. I hope this message resonated with those of you who needed to hear it. If this was your reading, Taurus, and this message did resonate, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to leave me a comment down below and, let me know how these energies are showing up in your life and what steps you have taken or what steps you are thinking about taking to, really harness that duality and make what you have been putting in so much effort for, make it work for you. Make it flow, make it easier for you. I'd love to hear. But as always, sending you all of the love and all of the light that I have to offer, and I will see you soon.